a quick impromptu situational video. So I yesterday had a really bad headache, had a migraine after the stream ended. I stayed offline. I wasn't feeling well. Kyle and I are walking out the door here in about an hour to go see Jaws in the theater because it's back in the theaters for just the next few days. And still wasn't feeling all that great this morning, but I'm gonna go. And so I finally started looking at some videos, and I see that the NHL has decided to the LTIR changes that were going to take into effect next year are going to take place into effect. I can't talk now. Now, so um tell me the entire NHL wanted to stick it to the Panthers without telling me the entire NHL wanted to stick it to the Panthers. We're not the only team that's going to be in a pickle, obviously. But now there's two things. To me, the question would be, well, when did they know? When did they start telling people that this might happen? And it might further explain the Kunin signing. That might really explain the Kunin signing because in order to get cap compliant, we're going to have to move on from Rodriguez and Boquist. That's the money. We're 4.5 million over the cap, and is that going to be enough? Because Kachuk's money is not going to count. Now that I'm thinking about that, well, no, when he comes back, we're 4.5. Yeah, so we're 4.5 million over the cap. So it's Rodriguez and Boquist, and we're just going to have to get picks and prospects in return, and we're basically going to be forced to trade them. I mean, it's. I don't know the other teams' cap situation, obviously, as well as I know the Panthers, but this is an absolute dumpster fire for a couple of minutes here because and I know nobody's going to feel bad for Florida, so I understand that. But just the idea of dumping this on the teams is 2 weeks to training camp. Like everybody has signed all these players and made all these moves under the assumption that next year is when this stuff starts. It's inconceivable to me that they would just, with 2 weeks before camp starts, just dump all this chaos onto the league. But here we are. Here we are. So, if that's the way that this is all going to lay out, that Kachuk's money is just going to completely not count. I didn't see a lot of the details because I wanted to just come in and make this quick because we're leaving and I wanted to throw my hat into the ring here. But my assumption is that we're going to have to move on from Rodriguez and Boquist basically camp, before camp. And wherever they go, it's going to be whoever we're trading them to is going to get a good deal, right? Because they know we have to move them. So I would suspect that both players are going to be asked, well, where do you want to go, right? Now, in terms of what that would mean for the Panthers on the ice, Kunin now makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, right? Kunin is basically Boquist. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Boquist is making Kunin's half the price. I'm sure Kunin can do what Boquist was doing. Fine. And that's what makes me think that that's when Zito had an idea. And what this does is this just knocks on Mackie Samaskevich's door. Just somebody knock on his door and let him know you're up. You're up. There's nothing else to be done. There's nothing else to be done, and Maurice is just going to have to let us roll with him because both guys are going to have to go. The depth that's going to be. It changes everything. Now it changes the idea that Kachuk can maybe diddle-daddle and stay out the entire year. I suppose if he was not ready, he technically still could. But with you lose Rodriguez, geez, Yeah, if you have to lose Rodriguez and Kachuk is out, you've got Bennett with Samiskevich and who exactly? So crap. 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 Well, Kunin's going to have to go somewhere. Now, I wonder if you're going to, I mean, you could do anything at this point. You could move Luosterainen up. I know they don't want to break up Lundell and Luosterainen. You could move Marchand up into Kachuk's spot and put Kunin with Lundell and Luosterainen. I bet you that's probably more likely. It's probably more likely you'll see Bennett with Marchand and Samiskevich, and then Lundell with Kunin and Luosterainen. That makes more sense. If we ever get short where somebody gets dinged or whatever, don't forget Balinskis can play forward, in a pinch. And but that completely, I don't want to say it obliterates our depth, but it definitely changes things because I'm sure we would have done things differently. I'm sure we would have done things differently. Um, but this is where we are. I don't understand how that. I mean, it had to be voted on by the union and the players association. Um, it's wild to do this right before camp. I'm just, and I like I said, nobody's going to feel bad for Panther fans. We won 2 cups in a row. There's definitely, I mean, I know we're not the only ones. There's got to be other teams right now going, what? How can they? There's got to be some other teams. Would Kachuk have done something different? He probably would have had the surgery right off the bat. That's the only thing I can think of. Is that if they knew that they weren't going to be able to use his money, I kind of think Kachuk would have been like, well, the day after, hey, we celebrated, let me go get my surgery. I would suspect that would be what would have happened. So this is going to be interesting. All right, that's got to be what that. I mean, if you wanted to talk about not trading Rodriguez and Bolquist, it's $4.5 million. There's nobody in the middle to trade. You're not trading Anton Lundell to get cap compliant. Luosterainen doesn't make enough money. Everybody else has got no move, no trades. You're not getting rid of Verhaeghe or Reinhardt or anything like that. And Rodriguez was slowly out the door anyway. You've got your Boquist replacement in Kunin and Mackie Samiskevich. Go eat a cheeseburger and a bucket of fries and gain a little bit of weight because you're up, brother. That's it. And somebody gonna have to tell Maurice that those are your options. You got Samiskevich, or Samiskevich. That's it. So, all right, short and sweet. I'm gonna get ready to go see Jaws. It's wild, wild stuff that they pulled this so close to the season. I'm sure I'll have more on this tomorrow, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is just totally blowing my mind this morning.